Our next speaker is the closest thing I think that Scotland has to a national treasure. Sure, she's probably going to come and smack my head in now. Oh, I've got it now. Yeah, totally. This is a woman who has brought our language in a way back into mainstream, I believe. When I was at school, quite a long time ago, before any of you get cheeky, right? Using any Scottish word like lug or wane was roundly condemned. But suddenly, it's back. When I was a wee girl and we moved into a new house outside Glasgow, I said to my mammy one night that I was feared, and she smacked me right in the head and she says, "You're no fear, you're scared." And that is how I realised that we had aspired to reach the middle classes. But the woman that we have speaking next is a campaigner, an activist, a woman who's brought our language back, a woman who addressed the Scottish Parliament on its very first day with the reminder that a man is a man through a rap. So, unmute, start cheering, say what you like, shout proud words from Scots to the wonderful, Sheena Wellington.
Yay! Woo! Woo! My God, what a build-up. I'm frightened now to start speaking. I'll talk to you later, Susan. I'd like to start talking about culture and art and what has happened to it and how we can recover from this abysmal year, however long it is we've had. Well, we phrase which I quite like. From the harnessing of fire, the hours between the coming of darkness and the coming of sleep have belonged to the makers of music and the tellers of tales. And I think that shows how important culture is in our lives, in our landscape, and in who we are as people. I mean, I've very rarely been in anybody's house where they didn't have a picture on the wall, where they didn't have music in the house, even if it was only on the radio. And so it matters to all of us. And to get purely practical, it matters in an economic way as well. It's the livelihoods of so many people. I was quite surprised to find that the cultural sector in Scotland is worth £5 billion a year. And that is just within Scotland. That does not take into account the amount of money which is earned by our musicians, our painters, our photographers, our storytellers, so on and so forth, going abroad to earn their living. Now, the cultural sector was facing a catastrophe even before the pandemic. And if I tell you the catastrophe was called Brexit, you will probably understand what we mean. Because in the usual caring way that your actual government deals with anything that that they personally cannot put money on, they declined to take up the offer that was given that for 3 months, artists from this country could go to the EU, artists from the EU could come to this country. Now, I was on an online meeting not that long ago with somebody who is actually trying to deal with this at senior civil servant, junior minister level. And we were absolutely gobsmacked when she pointed to, the minister said, the whole problem with this kind of thing is how do we determine the quality of the artists who are coming into this country? Now, listen here, if a gallery in Edinburgh, a festival in Glasgow, and even half a dozen folk club organisers down in the south of England decide that it is worth their while to bring an artist from Estonia or Spain or any part of the... I'm prepared to go with their judgment. I think they know what they're talking about. I think they know quality when they see it. Why the hell civil servants need to be trained so that they can tell whether this cultural thing is good or bad? I mean, give me peace. You just feel like slapping them. But the pandemic, of course, has obviously added row upon to all artists, because live venues have gone, live gigs have gone, clubs touring overseas all came to a grinding halt. There has been support. One has to say the Creative Scotland have actually not done too badly for once in their lives. And they have been able to keep things going. There has been money available. Of course, a lot of artists found, as we all do when we're in that position, that applying for universal credit is not the panacea and is not the entry gate to a lifetime of luxury that some of the papers like the Daily Fail and the Daily Press, etc., would have you think. But they've survived. Some of them have had to take other jobs, which found some of them have been very inventive. They've gone online. I've spent a fortune on tip jars. They're doing concerts and they've got a wee tip jar, and I'm doing because I have to be honest and say it has not affected me in the same way that it has affected many of my younger colleagues, because at my time of life I've got my pension, and I'm comfortable enough. And in fact, a couple of times there have been offers of paid gigs online, which I have passed on to the youngsters, because I think that's what you have to do. You've got to make sure that they're encouraged, that they're respected for what they do, and that actually people are still willing to pay for them. I've downloaded loads of stuff off Bandcamp and all the rest of it. By the way, if you are downloading stuff, would you mind downloading it from Bandcamp? Because Bandcamp actually pay the artists a decent amount. Spotify is an absolute disgrace. I've got 1,783 downloads of one of my own songs, and the princely sum of 5 pence came into my account for that. So Bandcamp, please. So what are we going to do now? What are we going to do with these young people? Well, not even the young people. I mean, some of the older ones are pretty stuck. We need to ensure that there is support for venues for a start. A lot of the venues have been absolutely killed by this. We need to make sure that the venues are supported, and not just for 6 months. This is probably going to take at least 2 years, possibly more. We have to support that. And we have to support artists to make sure that they can do their work, that they can do their job. It's important to us all that we get something done. I would like to see Creative Scotland, well, maybe no Creative Scotland, but somebody that knows what they're doing in these things, organising a major tour, a major festival tour. This is Scotland, and taking it worldwide. I think that would be a great thing. And it would also show off our culture, which is tremendous. We do need a sensible accommodation with the EU, EFTA and others. How we're going to get that, I have absolutely no idea, but we do need to get away from this. At the minute, if you're going to Europe, you need to have a visa. You need to have carnets for your musical instruments. You need to pay the tax. You need all of this stuff going on. And I remember before we had the single market and freedom of movement, exactly what this was like. I have to say that it occasionally worked to my advantage, because I would get a phone call from some embassy somewhere saying, can you quickly learn this national anthem and fly over and sing it, because we're hoping to land a big deal with this Arab country, or whoever the heck it was. Get yourself over there, because I was easy to get over. They didn't have to the problem at the border of saying, why have you got that guitar and what are you going to do with it? There was just me. But we do need to do that, because we need to make it possible for people to earn a living. The cultural industries, we're not looking for a handout, are we, Susan? No, we're no. But if one comes along, we'll take it. Yeah. And the main thing, I'm not going to drag on forever here. The main thing that we need to do ourselves is we need to support the cultural industries. As this happens, as we're getting out of lockdown, we really need to start going to a gig, going to the theatre, going to a concert, going to a festival, still downloading albums, buying a painting, just even a nice wee watercolour for somebody. Crafts, buy craft things. When it comes up, it'll soon be Christmas, and when we're buying, thinking of Christmas presents, there's loads of beautiful crafts people out there making loads of beautiful things. Buy them. Books, buy books. Books are part of the culture. And I'm going to finish up by just saying what I think sums up. Your culture needs you. Thank you very much.